Welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show. We're here in San Rafael and joined today by an iconic musician and one of the most humble cats I've ever come across. Tony Bennett's current drummer and Count Basie's drummer as well. Also, Marlena Shaw. Harold Jones, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
All right, thank you very much. From here at the Drummers Tradition in San Rafael.
That's right. I spaced on the name. Drummers Tradition in San Rafael. Very hip place. And
yeah.
You know, I wanted you to just talk when you were playing with Sleepy Anderson and Leo Bivens. Those guys were amplified.
Yeah.
You were not.
Right.
So can you talk to younger cats about out there how to develop sound through volume and physicality?
Well, you just have to practice a lot to be in shape, and your volume will come. Your volume will come when your hands are in shape, and you get to play a whole lot more fortissimos. But yeah.
Well, I mean, let's go a little bit deeper. I mean, you have to build up stamina on the bandstand.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And where did that come from for you? Outside of Diana Washington's clubs and Sleepy Anderson, you talk about Calumet City, and I want you to talk about how many hours you play and how much stamina, how much it worked it for you.
We in Chicago, when I was on the bandstand with Sonny Stitt and Johnny Griffin, the song would be 30 minutes long, the tag would be 45 minutes long. You know, and so you learn to play long. It built up you. If it didn't kill you, it really built you up. And some guys did drop along the wayside. But as a kid, I don't remember eating or sleeping. We just practiced and went to sessions and was working, trying to work.
Do you feel like you were learning more than you thought at the time? Because there was no jazz curriculum.
Right.
So how did you learn? I mean, you guys were getting together and writing out compositions together. I'm talking about guys like Pierce and Hunt. And I want you to talk about the education that Harold Jones had, because it's very different than academia.
Well, those guys like Joe Hunt, man, they read music. They told us as younger guys that we needed to learn to read music and not just be out there banging. You just can't hit a drum because you can make sound. So guys like Joe Hunt was the ones that were teaching us younger guys. And I happened to have a drum set that he'd always have me come around to sit in because I could bring my drums. And it was guys like him, and I don't know, John Pierce was a great leader. Because I really didn't know who Charlie Parker was until the day he died. But these guys were all around doing it.
1956.
56.
You're in the car with those cats. You're all wearing black sunglasses, right?
Yeah,
You're all wearing shades, right?
Yeah, they were.
I wish you were wearing shades today, but no, I mean, but they started to cry.
Oh yeah, these were hip cats. I mean, you know. So I didn't. That's when I asked what's wrong, and they said Bird had died. So that's when I found out who Bird was. Yeah.
With Pierce, he never played. You never knew what was coming. Really, the ideas were not. It wasn't like Stitt and Griffin. There was some predictability. It was just relentless, bar after bar after bar. Pierce's ideas were going in and out and around. Can you just talk about how to play, keep a groove, keep it together when somebody is riffing like that, so free?
Well, I always usually lock in and marry the bass player. And that way, if we're just sitting there like this, swinging and whatnot, no matter what he does or where he goes, it's just there. And I find that in my kind of music, the rhythm section it's important that we listen to each other, and so that we blend with each other. And the younger drummers, I mean, it's kind of individual, a little more individual.
Talking about modern drummer today.
Yeah.
I dig. Yeah, no, because that's the instrument has fundamentally, the meaning of the instrument has changed.
Yeah. So, no, I just lock in with the bass player, boy, and we just stay right there.
Were you, like, you're talking about like Andy Simpkins?
Andy Simpkins.
So can you talk, how, was that an evolutionary process with him? Because he wasn't always amplified either.
No. Back when I'm talking about in the 50s, the bass wasn't amplified. You know, they had to have a big finger, and they wore Band-Aids. Yeah, man. There's a good-looking cymbal case.
They wore Band-Aids?
They wore Band-Aids, I got Band-Aids in my pocket today for that very reason.
So
Yeah.
the idea, do you feel like, I guess what I'm trying to say, you like to lock in with the bass player. But
Yeah.
was that something that was something you learned from Pierce? You were, I quoted you in our first interview, you said he led us into the music of the future.
Yes.
But I don't think he did it verbally.
No.
So can you talk about how he did it as a leader?
Well, he'd have us listen to some of these records that were coming out. Philly Joe with Miles. You know, there were certain records that were milestones records.
Pardon the pun, yeah.
Yeah, pardon the pun. And he'd have us listen to them. Philly Joe was one guy. That Kenny Clark was another one. And I mean, when we was playing in these rhythm sections, you listen to those kind of drummers. I mean, the Buddy Riches and them, they were more solos, and they were the leaders. But no, not with us guys. Yeah.
Rhythmically, how were those records groundbreaking at the time? I mean, they weren't overpowering anybody with the volume.
No,
When you talk about Philly Joe, I mean, talk about why they were seminal rhythmic albums for you.
Well, I don't know. But you can listen to a Miles Davis record today, and it sounds fresh.
A lot of stuff sounds. Joni Mitchell sounds fresh today. You listen
Yeah.
to
Those kind of parts, you know. But
But you were playing tuba. How long did you play for? Maybe a day.
a day.
A day.
A day.
Just to be clear, you were looking for the shortest word,
Yeah.
which was Trump. Well, you saw
Trumpet.
because you were into Dizzy. Did you get to see Diz play?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he kind of wanted me to go on the road with him. But, man, I was doing the road with Basie. And, you know, he didn't want to leave Basie to get a smaller group. And, but then when I got to go from Basie to Ella, the pie was only split 3 ways.
That's
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, she had Tommy Flanagan and Keeter Betts.
oh, Keeter.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
So there was another rocking chair. Yeah. All good.
Just for the record, can you talk about how you kept yourself together on the road? A lot of cats will say the road will eat you alive. And you were on tour for, I mean, you probably played with Basie, you probably played 320, 30 dates a year, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, for musicians today who actually, there are cats out there who sacrifice money to play more on the bandstand. How did you not allow the road to eat you up?
Well, you had to learn the pace of sleeping and eating. Yeah. And only in the last 20 or 30 years have I learned about eating. So
You mean just eating healthy?
eating healthy, yeah. So you just had to pace it like that. Some guys didn't want to leave home, and the guys that left home seemed to grow more. I don't know why I say that, but musically they seem to grow a little bit more when you travel. Yeah.
Is it even possible just going to Calumet City? I mean, that kind of traveling, or are you talking about going all the way across the country and back?
All the way across the country and back. Yeah. With Basie, we do that. I'd bring everybody back home. It'd be daylight by the time everybody got back home. I'd go back into school. Yeah.
I mean, that's emblematic of so many cats from your generation. I mean, but I mean, did you play spiritual churches in Chicago?
No.
But you did play with Sun Ra at fraternities and sorority parties.
Yes.
Now that to me is pretty amazing.
Well, when I was with San Rafael, we wore a blue suit, long tie, and a white shirt.
The Blue Blazers.
Yeah. Yeah, that was way before the orchestra. Yeah.
You know, did you? It's not like you lived in the studios. You were touring on the road with major acts, but how has automated rhythm changed music?
Everything sounds the same. That's what I think. Like in the old days, I could look at the bumper of a car and tell you what kind of car it was. And it's the same way with the music. I could hear the drummer and know who it was. But nowadays, it all kind of sounds the same to me.
There's a homogenization of sound.
Yeah.
What does that say? I guess the better question is, for younger cats out there who are trying to unplug and find their own voice, what would you do? What would be your advice to them? I mean, the idea of going and playing Calumet City, I don't think that really.
No.
They have electronic music, or you know.
I just say try to be as musical as you can in what you play. For example, the guys I know that are musical are like a Steve Gadd, Steve Smith. Those are two that off the top of my head that are very musical, even though they got all the other technique down. You got to practice to be able to do what they do. Yeah, but they're musical. Yeah, that's two of them right there. But
musical. I in our first radio interview, I said when Julian Priester was playing with Sun Ra, everybody had to have really good time feel. So I said they could play melodically. You said, well, it's more about musicality, not melodically. So when you say musically?
Well, I just mean that to play in with the section, and when you hear the horn player, you know how you can compliment him or stick in it would be like a hyphen or a period or a comma to accentuate what you hear the soloist doing.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I mean, you consider yourself a musical drummer.
I'm going to say yeah, because those are the kind of drummers I listen to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know I'm going to ask you to play a little bit because you're not a Buddy Rich soloist, but you're a music. Can you play a musical on the drums?
Well, yeah, we just played the normal, just keep it on. Just keep it every time. Really mess with me that much.
You were a rookie.
Yeah.
In just big band? You had already been
in
working.
Basie. No, in Basie's big band. The new boy was always new boy. It's kind of like in a fraternity, you know. And you're supposed to respect your elders, and I learned to try to do that. Yeah.
What was his time? What was he like? I mean, he and Freddie Green and Norman, they were already in the band.
Yeah.
So they had their own time feel together.
Yeah. So it was automatic. It was good. No problem.
It was like having your cake and eating it too.
Yeah. Yeah. I was very fortunate.
What's the thing about that makes Tony Bennett a great leader in this day and age? Especially, I mean, he's still doing it. I'd say that, I mean, you know, Father Time catches up with everybody, but I mean, I know it's a gig. To me, it's like, how do you stay engaged? How does Tony keep you engaged by essentially playing the same tunes all the time?
Well, I believe that if you play the same tune, sometimes you know how the tune goes backwards and forwards and meat and potatoes. It gives you even more freedom to play it different each night. And I like knowing what songs I've already played, because then I can go on and start to create something on it. If you're learning a new song at night, you're kind of you're not really going after it on that first try. So yeah.
Well, you're trying to learn the song.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But you're talking about never playing the same song the same way once.
Yes. Yeah.
That to me is a very, that's more, that's an interesting aesthetic to get to, you know?
Oh, well, you can go back and listen to any Count Basie tapes and hear 1 O'Clock Jump, the theme, and it could have been at any tempo. It could have been any tempo, depending on the mood of the last song. If the last song was kind of slow or something or other and there was time to go out with 1 o'clock, he'd do it kind of slow. But if the last song was kind of fast, he'd do it fast. It changed. Yeah.
When you were on Rush Street, you'd go down there all the time to sit. Did you get to play with some of the, like Howlin' Wolf and those cats?
No, I was a little too young to do some of that, because that was in the late 50s, and I was like 18.
Right. Who did you get to
19.
play with? I mean,
We had our own band with Herbie Hancock.
You had a band with Herbie?
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I just interviewed a cat. 2 years ago, 3-4 years ago, I interviewed a cat, and he just passed. Is Alvin Fielder?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you send me that thing on him?
I'm going to send it to you right now.
Because you know what? Alvin Fielder was one of my close friends.
You know what? Bless him. He's looking down on us because
Yeah.
what he was talking about. Is that these there'd be rehearsals, like you'd get a chance to tryouts. Herbie was scuffling, he said, for a while until he got a break with Coleman Hawkins.
Oh yeah.
But that was interesting to me.
Donald Byrd is the one that gave Herbie the break.
Well, no, because he got the gig with Coleman brought him in for 2 weeks, and then Byrd came, and then he left with Byrd. That's what Fielder said. I'll send you the interview.
Okay.
You want to talk about Fielder? Because he's looking down on us right now. He passed away. I don't know if you knew that.
Fielder had a house. That's where we could go and jam after school late at night or all night, because there was a big house in the neighborhood. One night, boy, there was a snowstorm. And I mean, when we opened up that door, the snow was up to here. Now, we were out of everything in that place. The guys that were drinkers was out of beer, wine. The guys that were drug addicts were out of drugs. The one person that was going to go out through that snow was a cigarette smoker. And by God, they went out. And the nearest place was a filling station a couple of blocks away. But that's when I realized how strong cigarettes are to a habit. So, yeah.
When you go through the
Withdrawals.
right.
Anything like that. Yeah.
I mean, you're one of the most grounded cats I know. I mean, but does music and rhythm keep you? Has it always been a healing function for you?
Yeah. I feel good no matter what. Yeah.
As long as the rhythm is there, you
Yeah.
feel okay.
Yeah.
And just I just wanted you to talk a little bit about when you first crossed paths with the guy that connected us. And he's Ione McCall is Lee Charlton.
Oh yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about when you first met Lee and the kind of drummer the style he had, what you like? Because he played with Pierce, he played with Ellis.
Yeah, and he played with
Jim Hayden.
He played with oh man.
He played with Mose Allison.
Mose Allison, yeah, too. But no, Lee's one of those drummers like me that we sitting around here playing the rhythm, playing in a rhythm section with a band. That sounds good. There's a few stellar horn players we have around. And Noel Jukes is one.
Oh, tremendous. Yeah.
You know of him?
I saw him at the Seahorse. He's burning, yeah.
Yes.
But he's got a big he's got a vocabulary, Harold.
Yeah.
He's got a deep, who else? Jules Broussard? Who else?
Jules Broussard.
He won't talk to me. I don't know why.
Yeah. John Young. George Young.
George Young.
Yeah. And off the top of my head, that's just what I'm thinking of. But yeah, there's several cats around that we use for great soloists. Yeah.
Now, in Mill Valley, when did you actually move to Mill Valley?
I'm out in Woodacre, West Marin.
West Marin. When did you move out?
1980.
Did you tap into any of the Bay Area music scene when you got out?
No, I was going to try to, but I was traveling with Sarah Vaughan. So there were times I wasn't home for 2 weeks to a month. And I never got back into gigging around here that much, although I did do a lot with some jazz cats like Merle Hoover, who was around here. And there were some other little great jazz bands.
Well, Walt Dixon loves you. I'm not saying he's a jazzer.
Oh,
Bill
yeah.
Vint. Those are the first guys that said, you got to talk to Harold, man. So you played with those cats, though?
Oh, yeah.
So, that's when I think about the Marin, West Marin, or that scene, that's what I think of.
Oh, yeah. Well, Elvin Bishop, man, we don't brag about it, but when we were in Chicago, he was with my brother's band. They were doing so bad, they stayed at my apartment in Chicago.
They were scuffling so bad.
They were scuffling.
Who's your brother? Who's your brother?
Deacon Jones. He died last year.
Hold on. I want to be clear, not the football player.
No.
The singer, right?
No, the organ player.
Deacon Jones. Okay, Deacon Jones. Because there was a cat that Harold Brown and Howard Scott played with at the Paper Doll in Southern California, but that wasn't the same Deacon Jones.
No, this one, my brother was with John Lee Hooker for 20 years. And before that, he was with Little Anthony and the Imperials.
Has he left us?
And before that, he was with Baby Huey and the Babysitters.
Baby Huey.